I'm Holly Amato, real estate specialist, and I have my fantastic partner with me tonight.
Hey everybody, Cece Machieski here over at Simple Home Lending.
So tonight I thought it would be kind of cool if we got to know us a little bit better, Cece. So I would love to hear, there's a lot, probably a winding road to get here. I don't know that anyone takes a straight path. Maybe they do. I know I didn't.
Not that I heard of. I've never
I
heard
don't.
someone say, I want to grow up and be a lender. Now, a real estate agent has more of an opportunity for that. But my field, I don't know if anybody ever really jumps into my field specifically.
There's a few people that I've heard. I just realized recently that there's a real estate degree. I was like, there's a real estate degree? Like it's like an actual degree. And I was like, hmm, yeah, apparently there is. I don't know what exactly else they're doing in there, but apparently they're just spending a lot of extra time to jump in and be crazy with us.
Yeah, because you have to earn your stripes in this industry.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
so many different scenarios and so much to learn, and until you go through some of those growing pains, I don't know if you necessarily understand the full picture because
Well, if you
every
wouldn't
transaction
do
is
it.
different. Right.
Well, that's a little cynical. It's not that you wouldn't do it, but you certainly would be like, "Oh, wow." It's definitely a lot different than what the TV paints at all the shows. Every time there's This is what gets me, okay? Every time you watch any little sitcom show or whatever, whoever the realtor is, they always make to be like some woman that's like dressed all trampy and like just kind of did it's never like really looked at like a profession. You know what I mean? It's like this like little they always have the same kind of a character. I feel like and it's like, all the shows like Million Dollar Listing and everything that's out there make those shows just make it kind of look like it's just a breeze and you show up in your, Lamborghini and you walk the $10 million house and then, you open escrow. So
And voila, you're
so it's
done.
not really portrayed accurately out there in the media, in my opinion. So,
Well, how did you get into the industry?
wow. I was a teacher. That's what I went to school for. And then I had kids. And then I got divorced. And then I knew I couldn't go back to teaching because I hadn't kept up with all the extra, I didn't have my master's. I didn't keep up with it. I was planning to go back after I had the kids. So I looked at my options. In 2012, there were not a lot of options when I got divorced. So I did a couple of things. I actually, fun fact, I think, I got into mortgage for a year before real estate and I started doing marketing for them and then they pulled me into processing and that's how I learned I wanted to get into real estate because I did not love your side of it. Oh, obviously too I was not really like I wasn't a full lender. I was kind of doing the grunt work and you know doing all of the in my chair all day long and that really wasn't me. So I know that's not you either cuz you're all over the place. But so then I decided I'm like no, I'm going to do this. So I got my license and I worked for another real estate agent over at Sotheby's in Birmingham for my first year. I was like kind of like I did everything. I learned the business like under fire. It was like you just I just had to like get it really quickly because he was extremely busy. Did about 40 million in a year. So we were working in the Birmingham market, Birmingham, Bloomfield, kind of all right in that little Woodward corridor kind of area. And so after that first year, I felt like, I can do this on my own. Felt like I had learned what I needed to learn. And I realized like, because being a single mom, people thought I was crazy. They're like, you're going into a commissions only based business.
100% commission.
Are you
We're just
nuts?
gonna do it.
Are you just really crazy? So that's why I thought, well, I'll go into it for a year. I was still an agent and I'll see it all and I'll learn it all so that when I'm ready to go do my own thing, I'll just kind of take off. So that was my story. What about you? I know you didn't go straight into lending.
Oh my gosh, no, no, I kind of tripped into it like many others do. And I think that verbiage is like tripping into it. But before I go into me, can I ask you a few questions
Oh,
about
sure.
you? Okay, yeah. So I
Absolutely.
kind of want to stay focused on you for a moment and becoming a real estate agent. Now, when I like little fun fact, I did the week course to become a real estate agent.
That's what
I
I
made
did
it.
too.
There's 5 days,
1 week,
and
5 days. It was crazy.
I by day 4 I started learning of the difference between a listing agent and the difference between a buyer's agent. So I was all into it. My arms are crossed, I'm focused, I'm like, "Yes, this looks great." I had, another local realtor who is successful next to me. I was in the same class as him, and I was all in it, and then when they're talking about what it's like to be a buyer's agent, I sat back, I'm like, mm,
Get
maybe
scared
not for me."
away. You got scared away.
Then I was like, "Oh," then I kinda sat back, um,
Oh, we lost you
I
for a second.
leaned in. Oh, am I still
That's
here?
okay. You're here. You said you
Okay.
sat back and crossed your arms, and then we lost you just
I
for a second.
sat back, crossed my arms, I'm like, "No, this isn't for me." Then she started discussing what a listing agent does, and I jumped in, I'm like, "Okay, let's get back into this." And then I
Mhm.
realized it's not me. None of this was me. None of this did it. I liked numbers, I liked mortgages, I liked being the mom. So with that being said, when you became a real estate agent, what did you gravitate towards initially? Were you more of a buyer's agent? Were you more of a listing agent, and why? Because I couldn't relate with either, and I can go into that later or maybe ad lib, but I'm curious, where did you start?
So when I was working for that other agent, we were very listing heavy. So that's where all of my attention pretty much was. And then I would get to be a buyer's agent if we had, somebody who wanted to, we had like we call it a sign call. If somebody just called in and wanted to see that listing. But I really wanted to be a listing agent more than anything. I gravitated to that. I loved the idea of walking through these beautiful properties and helping the sellers get them ready to sell because I had also been a professional organizer. That's one of the other things that I had done before getting into real estate. So, staging and decorating and just the beauty of properties that like called to me. And I absolutely love that. So, for me, I was like all day long wanted to just focus on listings. But when you're a newer agent, you just sort of fall into being a buyer's agent because it's much easier, if you will, because you're not really until you're really earn your stripes, like you use. That's I like that term. When you sit down with the seller, they're going to really ask a lot of questions. They want to know your background. They want to know how many homes you've listed. What is your success rate? When you're newer, it's harder to really put yourself out there as a really seasoned agent. Thankfully, I had that's one of the reasons why I stayed with him for a year because I wanted to be able to say, especially if it was a luxury client, how many homes have you sold over $1 million? I wanted to be able to say, well, that's how I learned. That's all we focused on. That's all I did for a full year was focusing on this market, luxury clients, luxury homes, marketing, really working with all of the print materials and everything that goes along with that. So in that respect, I was able to get some listings when I first got started because I did have that background. But I will say it was easier to work with buyers just because again, people want to find a home. You're a lot of people don't do a big, huge I do a buyer's consult and presentation, but a lot of agents don't. So when I basically wanted to sit and educate people, that was kind of like, oh, they were like, oh wow. No, you're not going to just run and show us houses. You're going to actually like, no, this is like a business. So I would say it was about 50-50 the first couple years. A lot of the sellers were also buyers. Some of them weren't. Probably a little more buyer heavy for the first couple years. Interestingly enough, lately I've been more listing heavy, which because it was kind of like 60-40 with favoring listings. But I love that because I still do. I absolutely love I love talking to the clients about the property. I love running the ads. We have fun when we do our open houses together. We get to meet people. So, yeah, but most people will probably, if they're thinking about getting into it, you need to be comfortable working with buyers because that's typically the business that usually comes to you first.
If
So,
you could give advice to anybody, if let's say someone's on here watching and they want to become a real estate agent, what would be the first step that you would suggest to take?
great question. So, if you're not financially stable, I would suggest having like 6 months of finances, because it's not a job. You're not going to walk in and have money right away. Don't forget, it takes 30 days if you have a financed offer to even close. So I would make sure that, and I actually counsel a lot of people. People call me a lot and they want to become an agent. Make sure they have something else that's able to get their bills paid while they're getting licensed, working on it. If they're not taking, so I did the week class and it was quick. It was tough. I called it hell week. It was hell week for sure. It was, I mean, that whole book in 1 week, midterm on Wednesday, first 15 chapters, and the final about the whole 30 chapters, whatever it was. But once you're licensed, I recommend looking for a team and finding a brokerage. So, you really want to talk to people and find out there's a ton of different brokerages out there. You want to find a group that resonates with you. Who do you want to be as a real estate agent? Who do you attract naturally? I naturally attract people going through divorce because I am divorced and I got that certification and I have a story. So people that are going through a divorce gravitate to me for that reason. So I like to say, who's going to be someone that you're going to market to? Besides, you're going to let everybody obviously know. But I kind of go through the how to get started. I go through, I'm like coaching them a little bit and really making sure they understand, this is a process. This is you promoting yourself. You have to be comfortable with that. You have to
And
be okay,
authentic.
authentic, and
Being
putting it out there.
authentic is going to
Absolutely.
make the biggest difference in our industry, because
Hmm.
if you're not authentic, in my opinion, and we see them out there in your
Yes.
industry, in my industry, the moment that you start showing your true colors, it's a click. It's over, it's done.
Well,
So you
this
can't
is like,
hide who you are. So there's
no,
no point to. If you're
right.
one that loves to say "fuck you," "fuck this," da, 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 like, are aggressive in their language, that's your niche. Those are your people. Or are you laid back? Are you Christian? Are you this? Are you that? Who are all about? You got to be careful and you
Hmm.
got to be authentic. Sorry,
You
I did
do.
swear on YouTube, but like,
I
are
don't know
we
what's going to happen
allowed
to
to
us.
do
I
that?
don't know if there's a YouTube jail. I'm not sure.
Yeah, are we allowed to? Oh
Can
my
you
gosh.
imagine? Well, I did hit the button that this is not for kids, so we should probably be okay. We'll
Okay,
see. Can you imagine we
okay.
get banned on our third show? Well,
Welcome
that's
to the
fun. That
Holly
was
and
fun.
Cece show. Yes, but yeah,
But no,
being
you're right.
authentic.
You have to be authentic. And the biggest thing to me is because here's the deal. You are handling probably their number one biggest asset, biggest financial transaction most people have is the sale of their home. Most people. Now, some people have portfolios and tons of assets and whatnot.
But they're on their 3rd home.
Right. Most people, this is their biggest transaction, and every dollar
Mhm.
that's coming out of this sale of their home, or if they're a buyer, every dollar that they're putting in, this needs to be, this is a serious thing. So they don't want to work with somebody who they don't trust. If they don't know you, like you, and trust you, they're not going to use you. They're not
No,
using you.
I agree. I cannot agree more.
Yeah.
No, that's excellent advice.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
it's
I want to hear about
excellent.
you too. I want to hear
Well,
about your journey
I'm gonna
into lending.
refill my girl dinner. Hold on, hold on,
Oh
hold
yeah, go
on.
ahead.
No,
So
this
while you're
this
having
is
your
my
girl dinner,
dinner.
I've got my Detroit,
This is
representing
what?
Detroit
Wait,
right here.
wait.
So you didn't
No,
have to
no
make
one's
dinner
home.
tonight. I love that. Not having to
No
make
one's
dinner is so
home.
great.
I don't want to make dinner. I'm not super hungry, so this protein shake. It has banana, coconut, chia seed, the whole thing. Like, this is my girl dinner. Instead of a bowl of cereal, I don't want to cook. I don't want to clean. The kitchen's clean. The dog's silent. The kid is gone. Everybody's gone. So I decided to, instead of having tea, this is my dinner, which
I love
I'm
it.
so content with.
I
Oh,
love it.
so to kind of get to know me, I fell into being a mortgage lender by mistake. It was an off season during college, and a girlfriend of mine, it was summertime. Her friend ended up having a mortgage company in downtown Royal Oak. So she's like, he really needs help. It's summer. What are you doing? I'm like, nothing much. So I went over there and they put a mortgage application in front of me and they're like, fill this out. I'm like, well, my father just paid for college, so I hope I can fill out an application. Like, slightly,
Right.
he's invested a lot of money in my education. I better
Right.
know what I'm doing. So I fill it out because I filled out an application correctly. I was hired into the mortgage industry. Can't make that up.
Gosh, the
Cannot
barrier of entry might need to go up.
make it up. Well, turns out, unfortunately, the gentleman had a little bit of a problem
Okay.
and slept at the office. And when I started realizing, and I'm young, so I'm in my bubble, I'm moving quick, I'm going out at night in Royal Oak. Literally, I would go to work, change my clothes, walk to downtown Royal Oak, have fun with my friends, have dinner, go out, go home, take a nap because this is what you did back then. You took a nap, and sometimes you still showed up in the same clothes.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't
Wow.
know, a lot of people call off. I never had the chance to call off, so I could potentially show up in the same outfit sometimes, but I noticed the light was on because I was in downtown Royal Oak, and then I started noticing he had a sleeping bag in his office. Then
Oh.
I started noticing he was there late at night with other
Hmm.
females,
Hmm. Lovely.
and he's married, and I'm sitting there
Mm.
and I'm like, "Okay, this is a bit uncomfortable." And then he called for a meeting late in the evening one time. He's like, "Oh, well, if you're down here, swing on by." I didn't last long. I lasted a month. It was uncomfortable, but that's how I got
Mm.
into mortgages. I filled out an application and someone just said, "Here you go," sat me at a table, "Here's a phone." Voila. Thankfully, I was in college. Thankfully, I know numbers. Thankfully, it all worked out. So when I get on the phone and I just learned as quick as possible, earn my stripes as
Mhm.
quick as possible in this industry. And I gotta pause because I've been in the real estate industry since basically I was born. My mother was in it. She was a landlord. We had a couple properties in our portfolio. So, and my mother and father. Um, but when I was 7, she would say, "Okay, Chrissy," family name, and she would, like, take the application, slide it across the desk, and say, "Okay, who would you rent to?" So at 7, I was talking about real estate. At
Oh,
7,
wow.
I was discussing landlord tenant. At 7, I was choosing who would be a better candidate to rent a home versus
Mhm.
others. So that
Mhm.
qualification process was always in me, and a lot was because of my mother, which was fantastic because she gave me that opportunity. Now, in the mortgage industry, that's how I met my current husband, and, I gave him a deal, but I was in BC lending, so I did that, and I ended up leaving the mortgage industry because it wasn't necessarily for me at that time, and I ended up going into landlord tenant for about 15 years and absolutely loved it. But then it was time to come home. I My district was the state of Michigan. I was the right-hand person to the owner. I had regional managers underneath me, managers underneath them, leasing agents under there, but it was time for me to go home and spend time with my daughter. She did not like how much I was working. It was just too much for the family of how
Yeah,
much
it's
I
a
was
lot.
traveling. So I took a step back And financially, what you said about getting into this industry, you have to make sure you're financially stable. I was
Mhm.
very blessed. My husband has always told me I don't have to work. Well, I always like to work. That's me. I've never not worked. I've never not had my own bank account. So I was very blessed. So I took a step back in the landlord tenant world, made it 1 month, everybody, 1 month being alone. I talked to the dog. I talked to the dog. I talked to the
Uh-oh, she went
Oh,
oh,
no,
there
I'm
she is,
here.
she's back, she's
I
back.
don't know what happened. So I ended up talking to the wall. I was driving myself crazy. I entered back into the force. I'm like, nope, I am coming back home. So we settled in the back in the mortgage industry. I wasn't evicting anybody anymore. I wasn't firing employees anymore. Whenever I showed up, Holly, it meant somebody was in trouble. And that was
That
really
has to
hard
be
on me.
yeah, now
That
you get to,
was
like, hand people keys, so that's so much better than kicking them
I
out,
know, and it's
right?
addicting.
Instead of
Is
knocking the
this
door down
not?
and being the enforcer, now you get to be like, "Hey, you want a
But
house?"
isn't it
Everybody
addicting?
loves you.
Yeah, I absolutely actually, I know what's happening. Hold on. My phone was slipping and it was trying to shut itself off because it's an iPhone, pushing the buttons.
Oh, yeah.
I see what
Yep,
was happening.
yep.
But it was just so addicting for me to give keys to someone, changing someone's life for the positive. And
Yes,
not taking away. As being in
absolutely.
landlord tenant, having to say, "I'm here, you're in trouble," because that was my job. If
Sure.
they couldn't if they didn't like the maintenance staff, they didn't like the leasing staff, they didn't like the manager, they didn't like the regional, then it came to me, that means someone is in trouble. It's the employee is in trouble because they didn't take care of the tenant, or the tenant is in trouble because now they're not working with our staff. Someone's in trouble, and I had to address it and I had to make corrections. Now, being in my industry, I've been back in mortgages for the last 6 years. And I love it. I'm a mother hen. I get to take care of everybody. I get to tell people how to spend their money, why they should spend their money, and sometimes even challenge. And Holly, I know you're the same way. You like to challenge some of your clients to think differently. Well, did you think about this for your home? Did you do this? Or, hey, what about this? You're selling your home. Do you want to use all of your net proceeds on the next home? And I get to
Right.
have the same conversation, which I absolutely love. And then at the closing table, like you and I had a closing yesterday, and our client was overjoyed.
Yes,
And
it's the
I
best
had the
feeling.
biggest high ever
Mhm, mhm.
yesterday.
Me
I
too.
went to bed, I had the best sleep. I had the best meal. Food tastes better. Does I
It was
it's funny
great.
when you're so happy for
Yes.
others, and it wasn't even my happiness, it was his happiness, but it was so contagious. I don't know.
It's
I love it.
addicting.
So
That's what I will say about this business.
yes.
As
Yes.
crazy, like as crazy the spirals and the craziness and all of it, it's addicting because like I remember the guy that I worked for that I had mentioned in the beginning, he said he goes, there's nothing like when you get an offer accepted. Like he would get so excited. Well, he was also dealing with like multi-million dollar properties. So, we got an offer accepted. That was pretty exciting, but it's addicting. It's like you work so hard. It's almost like such a challenge. And I have to be challenged. I don't like being bored. When I'm bored, I usually get myself into trouble, which is not good. So I love having a challenge and having something to like aspire to because with real estate, you never know everything. You get to the point where you think,
No.
okay, there's nothing else that's going to be new. Oh, there's things that come out that are new. There's different things you can do. I'm starting to get into more investment now with I've got some investors that I'm working with. That's not something I did a lot of before and I'm going to go down to Florida. Like, I'm going to do it. I've had this broker license for 2.5 years. I'm going to get down there and you're going to come too. And we're going to figure this out and we're going to make it happen. Like, it's like there's always the next level of something you can do. So you can have a business as big or as small as you want. You can focus it in and make it really, really niche down into one specific type of client that you work with, or you can work with everyone. I mean, it's like there's just so much, and
The
of
joy,
the
the
joy of these
happiness.
clients, they become
Yes.
friends. They become friends, and it's like you become part of their life. I had one that I he so men that are getting divorced are pretty much my favorite. Here's why: for business, they're good for business because I sold the marital home. I got him into his bachelor pad home. Within a year, he had met the love of his life. So sold that home. So keep track, we're at three.
Mhm.
He and her got their next home together. That's four. And then she needed to sell her house. Five transactions in under 2 years. And I got invited to the wedding.
I
And
did
it's
not
like,
get invited to the wedding. Okay, I gotta
oh,
tell you, I didn't get to. And I was on maybe
well,
3 of those deals, or is it no, I was only in 2 of
you
those
should have
deals.
come with me. I brought my friend Shannon as my plus one. I would have brought you. I didn't know. I did. I
It's
brought her
okay.
as
I
my
think I
plus
was only
one.
on 2 of his deals, or sorry, Ken was on 2 of his deals.
Yeah,
Was it
Ken did a
Ken?
couple. Yeah.
Yeah, did 2 of his deals, but
Yep.
I was involved.
You're very immersed in both your
Yes.
businesses. So you're very immersed. So you probably know all of the stories. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like clients don't stay clients, they become friends. Like I'm the kind of person, like I can't just be, I'm not a stuffy, person. Like if we're working together and we're going to spend all this time running looking at houses, or we're selling or whatever, we're going to become friends. Like we're going to be hugging at the end of this. That's just me. I don't know any other way to be. So that's what I love so much about this. And if you're not a people person, you're
No.
going to have to change that, or you're going to have to learn to really be okay with people and their mood swings. We all have them. And when people are going through life circumstances, sometimes they're selling and they're thrilled, but sometimes they're getting divorced, or they're selling, they're it's an estate, one of the parents has passed, and the kids are trying to pack up the home and sell it. I've done all of these different types of things. Or someone, they lost their job and they're having to sell their house. All these situations. So you just have to be able to really understand that there's a big emotional component. And if you can't understand that, and if you can't like learn how to kind of match that energy that is coming across from your client, you're not going to get many referrals. And I don't think this is the right business for you, because some people just want to just keep doing transactions like this. But the more I see the world and what's going on, we're in a situation where people are struggling in a lot of different ways. There's a lot going on. And if you can't connect with somebody, and you're going to be representing their biggest financial transaction, that's just, again, if they don't know, like, and trust you, I don't think it's gonna. So kind of circling back to when you said, what advice would you give to someone getting the business? But I just think people are so worried about the transaction. That'll take care of itself. You do your job. You just do your job, but you have to be really focused in on the people and what's going on with them. You
I
have to
can't
understand
agree
their
more.
motivation and what's going, and actually care. You know, it's kind of important, and have fun. When I show houses, we just have fun. I love it. It's like a big old party. We
See, I
show
wish
up
I
and
that would be the part that I would like. I'd like to go shopping,
it's
totally
fun
fine,
shopping.
and then I'd like to skip the next section, and then I would like to do the negotiations, and then I don't wanna do anything else, and then go to closing. If I was on your side, that's the only 3 things I'd like to do, is
Yep.
the negotiation, get to view properties, maybe, like, 2, and then I'd tap out. I'm
You
sorry,
get a
I would.
showing agent. There's some crazy things that you'll see at showings, though. I mean, it's like
Oh.
I want to write a book, like with a couple other agents, like put together a book of like what it really is, like some crazy things that have happened, some crazy things you've
Mhm.
seen, scenarios, this, that, and the other. Like it's wild. It can be a
Oh, the
wild,
I don't have those
thing.
stories, But I've had the stories where when I was in landlord-tenant, area, I had to go and go to one of the properties, and, they were super busy, so I actually took I forget what it was. We did some big marketing thing, and it blew up, and all of these people showed up, and it was great because we were successful. However, it was so busy, I had to start showing the apartments. And I'm like, "Okay, I didn't know much about." I knew enough, trust me, I knew enough, but then, the one that I was showing, was a one-bedroom, and it wasn't done, but the person really wanted it. I'm like, "Know what? I can sell ice to an Eskimo. I got this." So, if it wasn't done, I can get people to look past it. I walk in, a dead black crow
Oh
in
no.
the middle of the floor. Now, aren't black crows, like, a bad omen?
Harbinger. It's a harbinger of something bad, isn't it? Yes.
Something
It's like
something is
it's
bad
not good.
it's bad
I'm feeling like
juju.
there's an Edgar Allan Poe, like
Something bad.
this. Yeah, with the
It
crow.
wasn't good. So then I ended up selling 3 of those apartments with a dead bird in the middle of it.
You
I'm
didn't
like,
move the bird.
"I wouldn't touch the bird.
Well, not with your
I'm
hands, but you
what
did.
what the
You kept
disease
showing it with a
is?"
dead freaking bird
I
in there.
sold it 3
You
times
walked
over.
3 people through there with a dead bird, like nothing was
And
happening,
sold
and sold it.
every single one. I'm like, "Even the bird
Shut
likes it,
up.
it's sleeping." I sold that thing 3 times over,
And they
and
weren't like,
in
"Oh man, did
heels,
someone leave the gas on in here?"
in heels. I had bad omen, in heels strutting, but
Oh
I
my
still showed
gosh.
my staff, no matter what the obstacle would be, you can still
That's
get over it.
funny.
So
That is
I've
funny.
never shown or gone like a showing in the real estate world, but I can't imagine because 'cause I'll see photos online, like creepy basements. I'm like, "Nope, I wanna go down there. Nope, nope. I'm gonna stay here
There's been
in
some
my
times.
office and type up numbers and call it a day because I get to be a mother hen." And that's why I like doing mortgages. I love expectations. I love telling people how to be organized. You and I talk about organization. So
Mhm.
I love that aspect, and that's why I've gravitated to this industry and won't leave the industry. Even though it's a tough industry right now for a lot of us, it just speaks to me and it's
Mhm.
comfortable. The numbers are comfortable. My clients are comfortable. And I can be that awesome mother hen or great
Yeah,
the best aunt ever and tell people their expectations. They give it to me and then we work through the numbers and I love it, and hopefully, a little bit more about me is I have a 15-year-old who hears me being an entrepreneur. I have a 15-year-old who's watching and learning from her mother of
mhm.
taking charge and paving my own path. So I'm hoping that mm, if she ever becomes an entrepreneur, she's right now talking about aerospace engineering, getting a pilot license. I don't know what she's gonna end up doing. She's just gonna go. I just hope what I do influences her in some way to be better for herself
Absolutely.
and take charge for herself. And that's another reason why I love being in this industry. She gets to see this and observe it. Hence, I'm
Yes.
live on YouTube right now, and whoever's watching at any point can see this, which is great. And I love it because we keep getting our education out. We keep talking about it and being
Exactly.
repetitious. Hopefully, we can get to the point, especially being live on YouTube, talking about mortgages and how to be pre-qualified and taking those questions, taking those
Yep.
and being able to answer that live, pre-approving live, like, okay, tell me what your income is. Tell me
Mhm.
what your debt is. Okay, I can tell you about like do a quick pre-qual, not a pre-approval, but pre-qual. Where are you at? Is
Oh,
this
we
an
should totally do that.
opportunity?
That would be
Oh,
great. I would love it if
l-
somebody would like reach out and we could put them on and do that because I think the process scares people even though it really shouldn't. It's just the unknown, right? People think, "Oh my gosh, buying a house,
Mhm.
it's so much work, it's so hard." But really it's just when you have someone like you who walks you through that financial aspect of it, and then someone like me that walks you through the houses, right? And you actually sit down and talk about the process. It's fun. It should be fun. You should never feel like you don't understand something or, "Oh my gosh, what's happening?" Like you should have had those conversations and somebody needs to be like educating you so you feel then you just have a good time. Then it just becomes finding the right house. And then people start walking through and
Ask
they start talking
questions.
about the kids start picking up their bedrooms and or they start talking about where they're going to put, oh, the Christmas tree is going to go over there. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh, when they're
I can
starting to pick out
tell
where
you
the tree is going to
quickly,
go. Yeah.
can you afford the house? I can tell you quickly and just kinda do that prequel, like, "Okay, what's your income?
Right.
Okay, what kind of income do you have? Okay, great. What are you looking at? Okay, take this." And we can be hypothetical, as you know, taxes vary, but just a good rule of thumb, if we know the city or know the area, maybe don't even know the area and just put in that data point, like, taxes could be 400 for that area.
Hmm.
It's fine. But doing a quick prequel, I can it's something that is comfortable for me, and that's why I like what I do, and hopefully the wee one, even though she's not here and I'm doing this for some reason, because I feel like she's everywhere and overhearing everything.
Probably. I know that's just how it. I
Learn.
don't have anyone in my house right now either, and I'm just hoping that no one like walks through. But that would be
Yeah, I think
real life, wouldn't it?
I think my puppy is, like, right around the corner, and I'm shocked
Well,
she's not
she wants some
barking.
attention and some love. She wants some airtime.
I'm not. She can stay
Are they
over
like
there.
kids? How they, as soon as you get on the phone, all of a sudden they want your attention?
It's a bathroom. That dog never leaves
Yeah.
me, and she loves when it becomes a bathroom time, like, "Ooh, bathroom." I'm like, "Privacy." I'm now talking to a dog again, by myself. I'm trying to shut the door, pushes through the
Mm.
door. I'm like, "Okay, this is what it's like being a mom or a dog
Oh,
owner."
yes,
I'm a
absolutely.
fur baby mama who does not ever get alone time because that dog loves to be by the person who feeds them, and that happens to
Well,
be
that makes
me.
sense. That makes sense. I mean,
5:30 in the morning.
if somebody would take care of me and feed me, I'd snuggle up too.
Yeah.
If
If
somebody wants to feed me and take care of me, are you kidding me?
ooh, someone wants
Absolutely.
a
Smart dog.
yeah.
Sign me up. Sign me up for that program. Yeah, I've done it. We've done it a
Absolutely.
long time for on our own. I'm ready. I'm ready to have that life like a little dog does. Maybe a
Yeah.
little bit better than that, but well, I think this has been amazing. I love that. I love this story. And there's things that you shared that I didn't even know. All this time I've known you and I didn't know a lot of that you were sharing about the landlord tenant stuff. And I definitely know about the crow story. That was new.
I can
So,
sell it.
oh
Give
my
me ice.
gosh.
I'll sell it to an
See,
Eskimo. Not a
sell it.
problem.
That's right.
Done.
Sell it. Find the positive in the negative and spin it.
Hey,
We're
keep
like spin
smiling.
masters.
Keep your chin up. Keep that crown on your head. Then
Absolutely.
everybody will see
What do
the
you mean nothing's
confidence.
wrong? I don't see a problem. What are you talking about? Everything's great. I have that mug. Literally, it's a mug. It's a coffee mug, and I'm gonna bring it next week. I'll have it, and
Okay.
it says it's a bunch of dumpster fires, like a ton of them around the whole cup. And then inside it says everything's fine. And somebody gave it to me because they're like, you're constantly doing that, like you're in the office and managing people and helping agents and whatever. And I'm just like, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine. Like I
Yeah.
don't even realize that I say that a lot. Like, oh, we can fix it. It's gonna be all right. Don't worry about it. It dumpster fires on my cup.
We're
But we
solution
but we make
based.
it happen. We work it
That's
all out.
why.
It all works out. Okay, so thanks up everyone for joining us today. Again, Cece and I are live Tuesdays, 6:30 Eastern. Please subscribe and tap the bell so you'll get notifications. And also
Somewhere.
get somewhere on here and get some amazing content because we love to do content, all things real estate and mortgage and community. So we're all about that. We're here for you. Please send questions.
Cheers.
DM us, put them
Mhm.
underneath, and we'll be happy to answer them next time. And as always, thank you so much, Cece. Have a fantastic evening.
Thank you for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
See you next week, everybody.
Bye.